Chairman, we have
Excuse me just a minute. We always give an opportunity. If any of the guests would like to leave, you're free to do so now. You're welcome to stay. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman and board members, we have three individuals that would like to address the board this evening. The first is Allison Guyton.
Good evening. I've watched over the last few meetings as the issues pertaining to the actions of certain school board members have escalated. As I had stated at prior meetings in the public forum, I feel that the SACS complaints were warranted, and with the SACS response letter to Dr. Harper's response pointed out that pursuant to the Bartow County policy BH, the board has at its discretion the authority to address violations by the board members. The board and the superintendent's lack of action regarding the board members' ethics and conflict of interest violations has now escalated to the point that I feel it's going to cost the system severely financially rather than just the loss of some board members. Whether the board wants to agree with the taxpayers on all the violations that had been pointed out previously in regards to Excel, you really cannot deny that when Davis Nelson signed the use agreement for Excel to use our ball field, that was in direct violation of the Bartow County School System's board policy for board member conflict of interest under financial governance. Number 5 states that no board member or any of his or her immediate family members or business organization in which he or she has an interest shall represent any person or party other than the local board of education or local school system in connection with any cause, proceeding, application, or other matter pending before the local school system in which he or she serves in any proceeding involving the local school system. That's pretty blatant if you ask me. Furthermore, Dr. Harper, you addressed Wanda Cagle Gray as being the member that was violating an ethics policy in the SACS response for not working in a spirit of harmony with the board for bringing these SACS violations to light. However, Davis Nelson on video at a prior meeting just told Wanda Cagle Gray to keep asking for the list of in-kind services that Excel had performed on the school rather than provide her a copy of it after he just had finished reading it. He further made statements to the Daily Tribune News that Ms. Gray left the board meeting retreat in Rome early. But how can that be true if, according to your official minutes, that meeting, it states that Ms. Gray was in attendance? So again, I don't understand who is not working in a spirit of harmony here. The violations that were previously pointed out with the Rome Volleyball Club, they're still there. They're not going away, though they're quite overshadowed at this point with the inflammatory, derogatory micromanaging that has come to light on the other board member. Bartow County School Board and Superintendent, this is not going to go away. Your constituents are demanding action, as the SACS response said you have the authority to do. Sitting by taking a neutral position or not and hoping that it'll go away is not going to happen. We need to get moving on to building up our school system back up and support the growth of our county rather than continuing to run it into the ground. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Guyton.
Mr. Chairman and board members, the next individual that would like to address the board is Kim Wagnock.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Once again, I find myself up here. I'm looking for answers. I keep emailing, I keep showing up, just like everybody else, wanting answers. We have questions. We fill out a piece of paper when we come in if we want a response to our statement. I'd like to read the response that I received from last week. Dear Ms. Wagner, thank you for your time with our Board of Education last evening. Regretfully, names were used in open session that was inappropriate. I do sincerely believe that every member of our board cares dearly for our children and the work our teachers do daily to support the children. Sincerely, so-and-so. This is not the answers. Why, I feel like Do you guys think we're stupid? We pay taxes. We have children in these schools. Instead of sitting here with, you guys just leave the room and act as if nothing is going on. I hope an attorney did not, give advice on how to write this. This is not good legal sense. Just my opinion. I've asked in emails, I've asked by phone, and I've stand on this podium. We want to know about appointments, if they're going to be done, or if you're going to serve the board according to the rules and bylaws of this county. What are the taxpayers? How many lawsuits are going on? Instead of using the funds for our children. And this says that you're doing the best you can for our children. If you did, you would start answering the public, start answering the taxpayers, start answering the parents. Stop dismissing principals, teachers, getting rid of the good and promoting the bad. I have personally experienced this with having seen good go and bad be promoted. I've been personally lied to by somebody on this board that has patronized me, looked down on me, and I have a special needs child with high functioning Asperger's. And to touch me or make reference because I don't have a southern accent, that I don't know how to fry chicken. This is what I get from the board. This is what I get. This is what countless others, because I'm not arrogant enough to know or to think for 1 second that it's only happening to me. I go in front of IEP meetings and I've addressed a lot of issues in the last 3 years. But this is going on way too long. I'm not going away. And if anybody knows me, and I know a few of you do, I'm not going away. You know, and more people are coming. I don't want this to come back to me. I want a response. The people want a response, and hopefully I'm speaking for everybody else because I don't think they're getting their answer either. We deserve it. Our children deserve it. And we deserve a board that lives and works by the principles that you govern under, which is we, the community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman and board members, the third person that wants to address the board is Marshall Aiken.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the board.
Good evening.
My name is Marshall Aiken. I live in New Harley. Over the past several months, I've been hearing a lot of things about this board from people in the newspaper, and unfortunately, most of them not being good. The first thing I want to discuss is the subject of appointment versus special election. The last answer from the board was we were waiting for an answer from the council, or the council. Since this originally started, I believe, in February, and the lawsuits that were filed because some feel the law was violated and others thought it was not clear on the matter and the appointment was okay. Let me remind you, as a local government agency, I believe you're allowed to make policies that are stricter than the state law, but not weaker, meaning that you can make it a matter of policy to hold a special election. This, I believe, will save the county another lawsuit, bad press, if a vacancy should occur again. My question on this is, what is the board's intent on this? The second thing is, the complaint that was filed with the facility use agreement and retreat. In one of the meetings, this board put out its own PowerPoint presentation that one person from SAC said there may appear to be some ethics issues that needed to be handled on a local level. It was also stated that he is no longer with SAC and that someone else said there is no problem. Brings a lot of confusion in on our part. Most cities have what they call a review board or ethic review boards that are made up of some 3 to 5 registered voters picked at random that hear cases against board members and make their findings necessary their verdict to the board to take action on. I think this might be something you might want to look into, the way you can handle things on a local level without things getting so blown up that it goes to the state level or SACs. Robert Rules of Orders, the Sunshine Law, and ethic laws are all designed to work together to avoid the possibility of any wrongdoing or the appearance of any wrongdoing. I would suggest this board take a refresher course in all three. Robert Rules of Order state how the meetings are to be run and to run it the same way every time. And if there's any possible conflict of interest, that person removes themselves from the discussion and the vote. Sunshine laws are basically designed to keep things out in the open. Ethic laws are a code of conduct to go by, and a good rule of thumb to go by is that if you take it or perceived the wrong way, then don't do it. For example, if I'm a Bartow County school bus driver between my morning and afternoon run, I go into a restaurant for lunch. I see a friend of mine sitting at the bar of the restaurant and I join him. I have tea with my meal, we laugh, cut up, and I get up to leave. Someone sees me getting up from the bar and go to my bus. A person calls the school system, they say they saw me at the bar and then get in the bus. What do you think y'all would do to me for that? The reality was that I had lunch with my friend. The perception was that I was drinking and got behind the wheel of a school bus. What I should have done is have my friend join me at a table. With Excel, the volleyball team, and the board retreat, the perception is that something is not right. This is because, in my opinion, Robert's Rules of Order, the Sunshine Law, and part of the ethics laws were not followed. With Excel and the volleyball team, since they were unusual agreements, the board members had ties to them, they should have come out in a work session and voted on in a board meeting. As for the retreat, since a board member left and the reporter members left, any items discussed should have been brought up in a later work session. Now on to the third, in my opinion, the most serious of them all. In light of the text messages, tape phone conversations that have come out, did that board member recluse themselves from the executive session discussion and subsequent vote on Kingston Elementary employees? Did that board member make any other member aware of such discussions and personal conflict? While I know you're not allowed to give specifics of what was talked about in executive session, you should be able to give that information out as a simple yes or no. Now to the board members' actions on tape, text, plus what I can only say is a loss of control at the board meeting on September 24th and giving out executive session and personal information. I want to know what steps the rest of the board has taken as to that board member's actions, since this is clearly in violation of ethics ordinances as well as confidentiality policies. If the board is not sure how to proceed on this problem or is unwilling, might I recommend the previously mentioned ethics review panel, and then you abide by their recommendation on whether it's censure, fine, or expulsion. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, that concludes public participation.
This time